According to a recent report from the New York Times, a growing number of older women are seeking treatment for eating disorders. Many of them still suffer from untreated disorders from when they were younger. And today, they're still suffering. But the good news is full recovery is still possible, really, at any age. Dr. Julie is here this morning to talk about it. And, you know, you and I were chatting before the live segment here. And I was saying, you know, as we get older, you would think we would get wiser, that we're learning from our experiences. So let's start with the why. Why are older women still suffering from eating disorders?
Well, if we think about women in their 60s, 70s, and actually 80s, they were teenagers in the 60s and 70s. Think Twiggy in the 1960s, okay, right? And there was no really talk about eating disorders. There certainly was no treatment for eating disorders. So it became entrenched and it becomes a way of life.
Just the way you think.
The way you think, the way you experience the world, the way your identity becomes shaped. And so women now in their 60s and 70s, we know that 15% of women over the age of 50 meet criteria for eating disorders. That's astonishing. Yeah. Absolutely astonishing.
And then once you get to that age, you've got some very unique health challenges if you are also trying to treat an eating disorder as well.
Well, what happens is the chronicity of an eating disorder, which is both physical and emotional, wears on you over time. Carpenter, who was only 32 years old when she died, died of cardiac arrest. And that was because of her heart muscle being so affected by a medication that she was taking, to actually force vomiting, which is not on the market anymore.
But older women now you're dealing with perimenopause, menopause, you're dealing with heart disease, osteoporosis. Tell me how that compounds or, you know, really kind of complicates treating an eating disorder.
Well, I'm going to hope that it motivates people, okay? One of the things is when you're an adolescent, you think you're going to live forever. When you're 60, you know you're not, right? You want a better quality of life. So we need to get the message out that even though you've had a distorted lens that sees black and white your whole life, it doesn't mean that fuchsia doesn't exist, right? People need to know they still can get better. They can still have a different life.
Let me ask you this. If somebody's watching at home and you grew up in that era, 60s, 70s, 80s, and it just becomes a way of thinking, how do you even recognize it in yourself?
So if you have loved ones and if you are older, hopefully you have children and grandchildren. And I'm going to say, please lovingly approach the person that is dear to you and say, I'm concerned about you, okay? You don't want to live a life eclipsed by an eating disorder. Okay, it's a shame.
You know, you were talking about motivation, and we were chatting again off camera about how if it becomes a way that we are thinking, we are passing down that philosophy and that way of thinking to our daughters, to our granddaughters. So talk about motivating ourselves to recover and to seek formal help.
So the first thing I'm going to say is it's not normal to chronically diet. We might do it all the time in this disordered culture. It's not normal and it's not healthy. So recognize that that's not a healthy behavior, and your daughters and your sons are watching, okay? They are looking towards you as a hopefully healthy role model. Pass down self-love, pass down body love, pass down a healthy relationship with food.
Dr. Julie, we have to wind this up real quickly, but once we acknowledge that we've got an issue, where do we go from here?
Please seek treatment by a specialist. Ask if they are used to treating older individuals. Ask if they have support groups for older individuals. I'm going to say to treatment centers, including mine in New Beginning, we need to cater more to mature generations because they're out there.
What an important conversation. Dr. Julie, thank you so much. Really appreciate your time.
Always appreciate your heart.